Hey, Panthers fans, welcome to In the Box with Alex. I'm your host, Alex Baumgartner. Florida Panthers are really hot right now. They're 16-5-4, and it's looking really good. This is part of the 5 Reasons Sports Network, the Fifth Line 5R show, and I'm really excited to get it going. Let's talk a little bit about what the Panthers have been doing over the last few games. Obviously, the Central Division has looked pretty competitive, currently sitting third place right behind the Carolina Hurricanes and the Tampa Bay Lightning. We had a couple of close games against Carolina leading up to the last one. Unfortunately, the team did not look that good. Carolina's aggressive penalty kill and power play really hurt Florida, and it wasn't a very pretty game. Last game, however, against Columbus, the Panthers came out hot, scored in the first period, took a couple 2-goal leads, ended up winning the game 4-2. Big contributions from guy like Mason Marchment and Owen Tippett. Looked like the bottom six was really going. And it's nice to see that the Panthers are taking on the teams that they can definitely try and beat. Columbus, they've taken them down a few times this year. They took Nashville down a few times this year. We just had a series over in Nashville, got both wins. Our Caitlin Daly was on the Bridgestone Arena for the coverage. But I want to talk a little bit about Sergei Bobrovsky. We know last year signed the big lucrative contract, $10 million a year for 7 years, one of the biggest contracts for a goaltender in the NHL. Came down to South Florida. It didn't look too good. Season gets canceled. Then we resume the season. He gets to the bubble. He looks a little bit better, but the team wasn't very good. We start this season. Chris Driedger comes out hot, winning a lot of different games. It looked like they were kind of riding with Driedger for a little bit, and then Bobrovsky came in. And it was kind of his second chance this season. And Bob's been hot since. Right now, his save percentage, I think, right now he's running with a 905 save percentage. Obviously, there's a couple games where he won where there was 4 or 5 goals, but he didn't play that bad. Right now, he's 9-2-2. He has 2.94 goals against average, which isn't terrible, but he's looked really hot the last couple games, especially last night in Columbus, only let in 2 goals, made 38 saves, had a 950 save percentage, and he looked hot. We're looking at the goalie stats right now. We have Chris Driedger. Obviously, statistics look a little bit better. He's a 2.4 goals against average. He has a 920 save percentage, and he's played 1 less game than Bob. Bob has more wins in 1 more game. Both goalies have looked really well. This 1A, 1B goalie tandem's working really nicely in Florida, and I honestly think they need to keep riding with it. But from what I've seen so far with Sergei Bobrovsky, there's no reason why, if he keeps up this play, he won't be the goalie in the playoffs. The first 4 teams make the playoffs for the Central Division. I think the Panthers will be one of the first 4 teams in. I don't know if they'll get first place just because Tampa's really hot, and it's been kind of hard for us to get over Carolina. But we should be making the playoffs if we keep it up at this rate. We're almost exactly at the halfway point in the season, and we're sitting 1 point behind second. We're sitting 2 points behind first, and we've got a couple points ahead of fourth and fifth. So I think this Panthers team will make the playoffs. They've looked pretty good over the last couple games, except the Carolina one. But let's talk a little bit about the contribution from the bottom 6 now. I really like what Mason Marchment has brought to the NHL. He's only played in like 5-6 games. He started on the 3rd line. Injuries to Anthony Duclair boosted him up to the 1st line, and he's been showing out the last couple games. Got a couple goals, got a couple assists. He's looked really good, and I just kind of think Bill Zito this year, like obviously he wasn't there when we got the trade for Marchment last year for Dennis Malgin, but I really like what him and Q have been doing with cycling different players. We've seen so many different players in the lineup this year. Grigory Denisenko, former 1st-round pick. Owen Tippett's been looking decent. He scored a goal last game in his 1st game in a while. You got Gustav Forling, who's been an absolute steal. Ryan Lomberg. You got Nudavara, Radko Gudas. It's just so many different names that weren't on the team last year. And I think that's a testament to this whole team as a unit, as a group. I really think there's something different about this Florida Panthers team, something that I haven't seen ever in a team for the Florida Panthers. I've been watching the Panthers since I was 5-6 years old. I'm 20 now. So that's a lot of Panthers hockey. Jonathan Huberdeau, Alexander Barkov, the 2 star forwards of this team, look absolutely unbelievable. Look at the stats right now. Huberdeau has 30 points in 25 games. Barkov has 27 points in 25 games. That's over a point per game. And this isn't an easy division by any means. And they're coming in every night and they're playing the best hockey of their careers. You got Patrick Hornqvist. You just got him last season, former Stanley Cup winner in Pittsburgh. Got him the Mike Matheson deal. He's been instrumental to the success of this team. And for me, the best player on the Panthers right now is Aaron Ekblad. You can see right now, fourth in the team in scoring as a defenseman. He has 9 goals, 9 assists. I still believe he leads the NHL in goals by a defenseman. He's a +2. Plus minus is a very iffy stat, but he's playing so many minutes a night, killing penalties, playing on the power play. He looks really good, and I don't see anyone playing as good as him in the NHL right now at defense. And I honestly think he has a really good chance of winning the Norris Trophy. He's only 25 years old, and he's probably the best defenseman or one of the 5 best defensemen in the NHL right now. Ekblad for Norris is something that a lot of Panthers fans have been talking about for a while, and I think that he has a really good shot. We are 25 games into the season. There's only 56 games. So once we hit the 28 game mark, we are exactly halfway into the season. And currently, we sit third place in the Central Division. I'm a little worried with the way the Panthers hold their leads. They've blown a lot of leads or have went up, let a couple goals in. Like, look at that 5-4 game in Nashville that we just had. We were up, I think, 4-1 at one point. And Nashville had 2 goals disallowed in that game. We've blown many leads. Even though we've won some games, we've also lost some games. I don't think the Panthers are 100% there yet when it comes to holding leads. That's my biggest issue, because they'll play 2 really good periods of hockey, and whether it's the second or the third, sometimes even the first, they'll kind of collapse. And either you're coming back from behind or you're trying to fend off a team who's getting a couple quick ones. Last night in Columbus, we went up 2-0. They scored, made it 2-1, went up 3-1. Then they made it 3-2, and we have to get an empty netter to win. So that's something that you don't really want to have to do, especially when Bobrovsky has to make multiple big saves down the stretch. He had to stop a one-timer from Patrick Laine on a 6-on-4, who's one of the best shooters in the NHL. The team has to kind of do something, because you can't score 6-7 goals but give up 4, give up 5. You need to be a little bit more sound defensively. And obviously the Panthers have been riddled with injuries. The back end, you've seen guys like Anton Strawman go out for a couple of games, Radko Gudas go out for a couple of games. I don't know if the defense, from what I've seen so far, come playoff time, will be able to compete with Carolina for a 7-game series, or maybe Tampa. I don't know if they need to make another move. I don't know if they need to kind of just strengthen it up a little bit more. There's clearly something that, like, even though they're 16-5-4, I still don't have enough confidence right now in holding leads. And rightfully so. The team's blown a couple leads, but the forwards have looked really good. We're looking at the stats from the last game right now. Columbus had 40 shots on goal. The Panthers don't get outshot often, but Columbus really came out in the last couple minutes, specifically that third period. They really came out, and Bobrovsky had to stand on his head. Trade deadline's about a month away. I don't know if Bill Zito is going to make any moves, but there's a couple players that he could target. I've been hearing a little bit from Panthers fans. Maybe we go for Taylor Hall. And I don't know if Taylor Hall is exactly the guy that they're going to go for. The team's playing pretty well right now. I'd rather go for maybe a defenseman just to add a little bit more depth. I don't know how many defensemen you can get at the deadline, but I don't know if they want to really blow anything up. They got a lot of good pieces, a lot of interchangeable parts, specifically on the bottom 6. But right now, Panthers 16-5-4. They're sitting in a playoff spot. I don't see them losing a playoff spot. They got games against the Chicago Blackhawks coming up. They got games against another game against Columbus. So they've played a lot of the big boys already, and they played a lot of the they've won a lot of games that are very hard to win. So it's going to be a little different down the stretch, and Bill Zito's going to have to decide if he wants to add more or if he's ready to roll with this team come playoff time. That's pretty much it right now. The other thing is the goalie situation a little bit, if they're going to keep running with Bob or if they're going to go Bob Drieger. I think they could keep going Bob Drieger every once in a while, but once we hit about the 40 game mark, I think it's really time to kind of just say, all right, this is Bob's job because the competition really helped Bob. He looks like a Vezina goalie, looks like a Vezina winner. I know David Eversole said it on Twitter. That's Vezina caliber saves he's been making. So Sergei Bobrovsky's looked really well. The defense, a little shaky every once in a while, but Mackenzie Weegar and Aaron Ekblad, big top line. Ekblad's probably going to win the Norris, in my opinion. You got Jonathan Huberdeau, one of the best wingers in the NHL. Alexander Barkov, the captain of this team. He's playing really well. One of the best two-way forwards in the NHL. And it's exciting to be a Panthers fan. I won't lie. We have about 31 games left in the season. Around the 40, 45 game mark, we're really going to know what this team has and if they're going to be in a playoff spot. I think they will be. And yeah, it's really exciting. So if you want to follow more Florida Panthers coverage for the 5 Reasons Network, make sure you check out the Fifth Line 5R Twitter account. We got great tweets over there. Manny's always tweeting about score updates every game, every night. Want to say thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the 5 Reasons YouTube channel. Make sure you turn on the notifications. If you want to get a nice shirt like this, we got Quinville shirts, we got Bob shirts, we got Miami Heat shirts. Make sure you head over to the 5 Reasons Sports store. It's been Alex Baumgartner. You can find me on Twitter at abaumgartner91. Thanks for coming to the first episode of In the Box with Alex. We'll see